Good morning, friends. How are you all doing this morning? I'm imagining that you're all answering me with, great, good, I'm blessed, I'm fine. I wish anyway. There's so much going on in our world right now. Most of the time I feel completely powerless. I wish we could be together. In the meantime, I pray that you're staying safe and healthy. You are loved and you are appreciated. I hope that you know that there are people around you that are encouraging you and helping you get through these days. I was thinking about my dad the other day. He used to draw this little cartoon for us when we'd be just hanging out, being family. And I always thought it was really goofy and crazy. But I think it fits with what I want to share with you today. This is what he would draw. And it's just a guy with a big nose and his hands and big round eyes. He's got this one little hair that's poking up on top of his head, kind of straight up, maybe a little curly. But it's the caption, I know this is backwards for you, sorry. It's the caption that struck me. The caption says, "I'm watching you." Now, my mom and dad raised 5 girls. We were all teenagers at the same time, ages 13 to 19, from youngest to oldest. And when we were in our teenage years, we spent a lot of time with our friends, usually church friends. Someone was always at our house, or we'd invite people over for Sunday dinner. Mom and Dad never really knew who would be at the house. It was fun, and we loved it. When we would go out, it was usually in groups. It was something we could usually all do together. Dad never really gave us a curfew. I'm not really sure why. I wish I would have liked to ask him that now. But we knew when we needed to be home, and it worked. There are certain occasions, however, we knew it was getting a little too late when we would pull into our driveway and we could see Dad's face in the window of the front door. Now, you would think that this could get really bad very quickly. However, as soon as Dad saw us pull in the driveway, he would leave and go to bed. He never spoke of it. He never punished us. He would just go to bed. It was just the fact that he was at the door that my sisters and I knew it was bad. Needless to say, that didn't happen very often. I'd like to say it only happened once, but, a few other times. But he was at the door. I learned from this that my parents, especially my dad, would always be looking out for me, making sure I was okay, that I was not in trouble, that I was safe. And this got me thinking about watching out for one another and how we are going about doing this today. In the ancient world of agrarian societies, there were large watchtowers that were placed overlooking fields. And there, in the weeks the crops were ripening toward harvest, men would stand watch, guarding the fields from animals or from thieves who would make off with the crops. With the community's basic food stores at stake, the watchman's role was critical to the townspeople. We also find several references in Scripture to a watcher mounting the city walls in times of stress to survey the scene outside the city walls. He was situated on a spot from which he could monitor the approaches of people to the town. And if a threat appeared, he would sound a warning and the town would shut its gates and prepare for battle. You can also imagine the watcher standing vigil at other times, observing daily life of the city. He would see much of the activity in the streets and markets. He knew the people, he knew their work, their habits, and their lifestyles. If his position was near the city gate, he could also observe the business of the city transacted by its officials. In the 4th chapter of Ruth, there is a real beautiful passage in the first 12 verses that kind of talk about that. Now, the Hebrew word watchman means one who looks out, one who spies, or one who watches. Sometimes watchmen were scouts who looked out for approaching friends as well as enemies. In Isaiah and Matthew and Mark, there are references to watchmen that would safeguard the fields and vineyards during harvest time. In Psalm and Isaiah, it is referenced the watchmen as sentinels who would announce the start of a new day. The Bible also refers to watchmen in a spiritual sense. God appointed prophets as spiritual watchmen over the souls of his people. In Ezekiel, Son of man, I have made you a watchman for the people of Israel. So hear the word I speak and give them warning from me. These watchmen were prophets that would hear from the Lord and give the message to the people. They would warn of judgment and sin and God's wrath. And all of this was for the purpose of pointing the people to the one true God. Now, I really love this picture of a watchman perched on a high wall looking out for me, for dangers that I might not see, and then help me to avoid them and point me towards God. I made this little figure. See? He's a watchman. This is his wall. I even decorated it. And look, if you can see real close, this is me. I'm even wearing a mask. How cool is that? I have to give these back to my son when I'm done. But anyway, I think this reminds me that we can all be watchmen for one another. We can be high on a wall looking out for one another. We have the privilege of working side by side. Well, one day we'll get back to side by side. And I think it's even more critical than ever that during these days we take up watch for one another. I think this is how we do that. We find ways to encourage one another. We have access to social media, to email, to Teams, telephones, even snail mail. But find a way to stand on a wall for someone. Find a way to watch out for someone today. If there's impending danger, warn them, protect them, pray for them. If something good is happening, celebrate with them. If things are gloomy, remember God is light and life. Hebrews 10:23-25 says, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting meeting together, even over the internet, but encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." In Galatians, bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Everyone should look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others, from Philippians 2:4. Get on your wall, friends, and watch out for someone today. Encourage them, warn them, uplift them, pray for them, watch over them in the name of Christ. God bless you.